II front and center at Aretha Franklin's high-profile funeral.
7 investigator Heather Catallo joins us now with a look at how Swanson could potentially be in trouble yet again with the state. Heather?
Carolyn and Dave, O'Neill Swanson II refused to talk to us the last time we investigated his Flint funeral home, but he had no problem talking to reporters from Hollywood and national networks about Aretha Franklin's lavish funeral. And that has the families who say he shattered their trust furious. Decomposing bodies in a maggot-infested garage, blood-stained casket pillows, complaints about employees working on bodies without protective gear. Those are just a few of the allegations that prompted state investigators to shut down Swanson Funeral Home in Flint last year. Licensing officials also revoked the mortuary license of O'Neill Swanson II. At the time, O'Neill Swanson Sr., the owner of the Swanson Funeral Homes in Detroit and Pontiac, said his son had no legal or business connection with his father's business. In a statement, Swanson Sr. even said, quote, "The allegations the state has made against the Flint home are shocking and go against every principle of mortuary science." Despite those statements distancing himself from his son, both father and son played a starring role together in the national and international coverage of Aretha Franklin's funeral. The Detroit-based Swanson's Funeral Home provided the classic Cadillac LaSalle hearse that carried the Queen of Soul to her final resting place. While fans flocked to the public viewing, O'Neill Swanson II gave interviews to CNN, Entertainment Tonight, even to 7 Action News.
I'm just proud to be a part of providing a ceremonial tribute like this one.
I can't believe he's allowed to do this. Patricia Williams also doesn't believe the ashes she received from Swanson Funeral Flint in 2012 were from her mother. Williams says O'Neill Swanson II never gave her a straight answer when the funeral home could not find her mom's body for days.
It's incredibly painful. We just want to find out.
Williams filed one of the nearly 100 complaints against Swanson that the state licensing division has been investigating. Because his mortuary science license was revoked in April, state officials say he cannot work as a funeral director. So why was he calling himself that during interviews? What does that say?
O'Neill Swanson Funeral Director.
SWANSON, the second director.
When Williams saw Swanson on Entertainment Tonight last month during the Franklin funeral coverage, she was devastated.
It wasn't a slap, it was a punch in the face and in the gut. And then all the calls started coming to me. Are you watching this? Do you see this?
The state has fined Swanson $34,100. He has only paid $5,000 of that fine that was due back in May. The Attorney General also charged Swanson with 10 felony counts for failing to fulfill funeral contracts. Just days after the glamour of the Franklin funeral, Swanson faced a judge in Flint for those felony charges. Is he working as a funeral director?
No, any questions? Okay, we're gonna.
His license has been revoked, and he was introducing himself as a funeral director at Aretha Franklin's funeral. So is he working as a funeral director?
Answering any questions at this point.
What would you say to those families who don't think they got their own loved ones' bodies back?
Guys, we're not going to be answering any questions at this point.
Swanson Funeral Home in Detroit released a statement to us saying O'Neill Swanson II was at the funeral as a longtime friend of the Franklin family, and they regret if his statements to the media created any erroneous impressions about his relationship to Swanson Funeral Home Incorporated. But state officials say they can use information from stories like this to open and investigate new complaints, and they will be reviewing the coverage to see if Mr. Swanson was working as a funeral director. Carolyn?
Wow, tough for so many families to see. Thank you so much, Heather.